after rant. From the hot, never relent. This is the Tottenham supplement. Money well spent. Feet stomping, heart stomping. Ready for the event. Chasing glory every moment heaven sent.
Don't worry, because a few things have to be addressed as such, because at the moment, after seeing Dragosin going down with a knee injury that could rule him out for the season, how many fit players does that leave us with? 12? That leaves us with not many players at all. So, yeah. And so we've got 14 players out injured, although a few are coming back. It was good to see Van der Ven back. And it's good to see... I've lost track of it because as soon as a player is fit, Romero's at training. Vicario, is he done for the season? It's hard to say, but at least Romero's back, and I don't know if
he's
he will be
training
playing
Vicario, which is good.
Ah, there we go. So some players coming back, but as soon as the player comes back, he's out for the season, isn't he? So but it looks like as soon as a player comes back from injury, they go down. Another player goes down with an injury, and so there's always that delicate balance. A few people said that they thought that the transfer window was the summer window was about a 5 out of 10 because we didn't address too many issues. Although, as some of us are saying, this is a rebuild. It's going to be a very slow one, but I can understand need players for them now as well. So it's kind of like a fine balance. Since that summer window, and since we've come to this point now, where we're now having to nurse 12 or 14 players, or 12 to 14 players back to health. And I mean, what is the state of the team, really? I mean, it seems that with one injury down, we could cope. With two injuries is an issue, but is it feasible to have a squad as big as Chelsea's? Would that be manageable? Would that be sustainable? Or is it a case that we've just been very, very unlucky with the injuries that we've had? Is it just a generational thing that we've suffered? Or do you think that at the start, before the season started, we should have done a lot more than we should have done? I'll start with Ryan on that one.
I think that having 2 or 3 options per position would be ideal. I don't want to say you should have a bloated squad like Chelsea, who has multiple per position. But knowing, and this isn't a season under Ange thing, this isn't a current thing. Injuries for Tottenham has been happening since as far as I can remember. Ledley King always injured. Many players always injured. And then we sometimes sign players that have only been injured and played like 3 or 4 games in their careers with us. So, but it's tough because getting the right players, I feel we missed a trick letting Højbjerg leave at us. I'll forever feel like we did that because yes, he may have wanted to start more games because all he was doing was coming on to close out the game for us. But we could have used him now where we didn't. We could have used. I don't think Brad Hill was on the level that we need him because what we have is better, but it's an option. And I think we've left ourselves short letting these guys go instead of keeping them. Based on the fact that everyone's dropping like flies, and if it's not one thing, it's the other thing, and it's I don't know, is it that common for that many hamstrings to be pulled in one season? Is it it's almost baffling to me that has actually happened, but okay, it is what it is. But the real difficult part for me is the right type of player, and I think we struggle to find the right type of player, even especially with the right mentality.
Mm.
Because I don't know if it's just me, but I can go through the list of players in our team that don't have the right mentality. I don't think Johnson
Mm.
has the right mentality. I don't think I don't think Basuma has the right mentality. Every time I see either Basuma or Saar injured or not on the team sheet, my immediate thought is, oh, good, that's one less sloppy pass that's going to cost us.
I hear you.
Because it is the most frustrating thing. And none of these, like I said in the post that I did, I don't know if we have enough fight in us if we get down to, if we drop two more places in that league table. I don't know if we have enough fight for in us.
Mm.
I don't see the player with the heart of a Michael Dawson or a Van der Vaart that is going to grab the team and pull them out, because the player that would do that is playing in for Lille. Where did Højbjerg go to? He was the only one that was screaming and shouting when he was on the field. So it would have to be a pick between Solanke, Kulusevski, and maybe Van der Ven to try and get us out of it.
Mm.
So I think as far as the team goes, I never look at us when I see the starting 11 and think, that's a weak team. I think our starting 11 is always a case of that team should get a result from this match. I always think that. I always see that because I see our players as being strong enough, and yet somehow they seem to lately we go ahead, we are going to coast through the rest of the match, and then it all unravels. And I think that needs to change. But how or whom, I don't know.
No, I hear you. Yeah, that's some good points there. Ange, do you think that we did enough in the summer window? I think I probably know the answer to that one. But also, is there something kind of like deep and systemic within the team itself that, as Raz mentioned, can the team really have these many similar injuries as well? Is there something? Is there an issue that should have been addressed, needs to be addressed, or has it just been a case of us being unlucky?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of the fact that the team is in 4 competitions still, and they're playing every sort of 3 days, and we have a lot of youth who are playing, but then there's also a lot of the senior players that are carrying the team as well, so it's a lot of pressure on them. And then there's obviously, I mean, these are only press reports. Again, we don't know how true they are. And it's a style of training. Previous articles have come out about sort of the Celtic and the issues that they had with hamstrings at Celtic, and with the manager saying it could be, the training style. So there's a lot of there's a lot out there that can be said for why our team are dropping like flies. But at the same time, Munn has come in and Munn has said to the club his ideas. He's not actually addressed the fans, but anyway, we've read articles. And there's going to be a youth rebuild at Tottenham. And it's going to be painful, right? And when you have a youth rebuild, this essentially is what is going to happen, because you have to feed through the youth with the seniors. And because of the pressures of the Premiership, being in Europe, competing for cups, then the seniors are having to do additional kind of work to try to sort of bolster the team and get them over the line. Even though I'm not saying there's anything wrong with our youth, because from what I saw on Thursday, there were some of our seniors that weren't up to muster, and players like Mikey Moore were. And I was watching him and thinking, well, sorry, you're not up to muster. Get him off. Mikey Moore, 17 years old, do you know? So I'm not in any way criticising the youth. I'm just saying that when you're trying to build a team around youth, but you still have to have that senior input, it is the balance isn't always there, and the imbalance can sometimes come, which I think is what we're seeing. We're seeing quite a big imbalance, what with the youth and the seniors and the injuries, and trying to get over the line, and the 4 competitions that we're in. It's tough, but I think from the fan base point of view, what happens, it's human nature, right? It's like when we were kids and we saw our friends with certain things and sweets and chocolates and new shoes and new dresses and new jeans. And we often said to ourselves, well, why haven't we got that? Why can't we have that? You know, why can't I go to the sweet shop and buy all those sweets and stuff, and little Timmy can? You know, why is Timmy's mum and dad giving him the money to go to the sweet shop and not me? So I think as fans, with the advent of social media, we're seeing a lot of activities that are going on at other clubs. And when we see that activities, even if it's not happening, so many players are mooted with so many different clubs, but even if it's not even materialising, we see that activity. And then we turn around to ourselves and say, well, why isn't that happening at Tottenham? Why aren't we been linked with this player? Why aren't we going after that player? Why aren't we doing this? You can see how depleted our squad is. Why isn't this happening? When in reality, it really is happening. As much as I am not a fan of Daniel Levy, I cannot see him sitting there and looking at our team, depleted as it is, and him and Lange and Munn aren't sitting around the table trying to figure out exactly what to do about this team. I can't believe it. I don't believe it. You know, that's just my thoughts on that. But in terms of the team, right, it is what it is. We're in a youth rebuild stage. Okay. A lot of people did not agree with Johnson when he first arrived. I did not agree with Johnson. However, when he signed on the dotted line, I said I will back him. I like Johnson on the wing because he's got that pace, but I'm not sure we've necessarily got the players that can keep up with him, because sometimes when he's like crossing the ball and you think, yeah, Johnson is there, quick, cross him, because he can speed down that wing. It doesn't really happen because we don't necessarily have that players that have got the same pace as him. Kulusevski's kind of game has changed slightly. I mean, he keeps being played down the middle. I mean, that's where the manager sees his strength. But I remember the days when Kulu used to take that ball down to the byline and he used to look into the box to see who's there, cross that into that player, so that player can then just sort of like try and bang it in the back of the net. But even his game is, because he's had to adapt and change to the team because it's so depleted. We all know that Sonny is getting older. It's not the same Sonny, but do remember Sonny hasn't got his cane. It's like Sonny and Cher, right? When they split up, the music was different. Everything was different. You know, Sonny doesn't have Kane. Sonny doesn't have that solid player, right? Okay, Solanke's come in, but it's completely different. Right, and they have the best partnership still to this day in the Premiership. Nobody has surpassed that. It is still Son and Kane, right? So Son without his Kane, that's why we have the Son that we have, and playing Son down the middle doesn't work. sorry. Sarr is having an off season, in my opinion. But then again, it's the pressures of all the injuries. And then you got players like Gray, who is falling into that centre back role. Not his position, but he's like, I have to do it, right? And he's doing his best, right? And he's doing it well. He's doing it well. So, you know, at the end of the day, all I can say, right, and it may seem like a bit of fence sitting, but it is what it is. Our team is depleted. We are doing a youth rebuild. So I think the fan base have to either accept it or not. That's the crux of it. This is the youth rebuild. We've seen that with the players that have been given a chance in the academy, which is brilliant. We've seen it with the young players that the club, I mean, you know, going after Tell, he's a young 19-year-old. We see that they're trying to build from youth, but it's going to be a long process. And it is whether or not, right, the fan base are willing to wait. So are they willing to wait? Are they willing to wait? Because that is our team. That is our team. Yeah, we've got loads of injuries. It is unfortunate. It is what it is. Other teams have got injuries, maybe not as many as us, but that's the life of football. But the big question is are the Spurs fan base willing to wait for this youth rebuild of our team? And I don't think that they are.
Internal issue.
If I could just add, you can see how tired they are. You can see that
They are.
they've been run into the ground, but
They have.
they are still trying. They are still playing for the manager. They are still playing for the club. They are still trying to do their best. And I don't think it's getting appreciated enough by a lot of the fans, because it's still a case of, well, on paper we should win, or because we are Tottenham Hotspur, we shouldn't lose to an Ipswich. We shouldn't lose to this team because they are in the relegation zone, or we're a bigger club than Nottingham Forest. We have to beat Nottingham Forest. Doesn't matter about form. Our name says we have to beat them. And it's like, I was listening to Andy Gold yesterday or the day before, where he said and I've seen it, a lot of Spurs fans say, oh, but, you know, Bournemouth have players injured. Okay. But Bournemouth don't have 11 starters injured. And Bournemouth don't play every 3 days. So it's okay to have 4 players injured and you play once a week, but if you play twice a week with 11 starters injured, you are going to suffer a lot from it. So
and that's
I think,
the thing, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely don't have the patience, or they definitely just, it's still a case of, we must win everything now. We've waited long enough. It's now.
I mean, I can see the point. I can sort of be objective and see like the point of the fan base. It's like, we've got this fancy stadium, you know, it's like the best in the business. We've got like the best facilities in Europe at like Hotspur Way. You know, it's a spa. It's literally a spa. They've got the best of the best. They've got the best chefs, you know, so they're getting all that nutrition. You know, they've got the best facilities for pre and post match. So I think from the fan base point of view, they've been paid a hell of a lot of money. And we just want them to go out. And even if they feel like Plymouth Argyle, right? Because they may feel like that. They may feel like Plymouth Argyle when they hit that pitch. But I always want them to play like they believe they're Real Madrid. That's how I want them to execute every match. And even if they lose, or draw. I can say those 11 players went out on that pitch and they played their hearts out. And that's all I think I'm not saying no, a lot of the fan base want to see. And I think we did not see that against Ipswich. And I think that was the biggest issue. We saw them out there just very much like, okay, Ipswich are just wearing us down. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to play this. And then they lost. And even, come on, you can't say that Ange was not disappointed and angry and annoyed and upset. Because even he was probably like, this was a winnable match. Come on, these guys are in the bottom of the table. We are Tottenham. This is a winnable match. I know that I'm managing the team well enough that they can go out and beat Ipswich. So
the press conference at the end of the game showed it.
Yeah. So that is all I ask of the team. At the moment, they are Plymouth Argyle, okay? But I want them to be Real Madrid every time they leave that tunnel. And that is all I can ask of them. And they did. They played like Real Madrid when they played Liverpool. That's all we asked of them.
And it is that after that first goal that gets conceded, you can see that there's a switch, that it's like we aren't going to make it, which is terrifying going into not tomorrow, going into Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it is. Because if Liverpool get that first goal, what are we going to do?
Correct. They don't have that. I mean, there's only so much that the manager can do, but they don't necessarily have that football intelligence to be able to figure out how to close out a game. And I don't know if that is because we do have a lot of sort of young players playing who are still, come on, they are still learning their craft. They've just come out of the academy. It's a big leap. I'm glad that, that there's faith in them to actually play them. But it's true. Once they concede that goal, it's like they don't know how to come back from that. They really struggle with that. And I'm wondering if I don't know. I'm wondering if there needs to be some sort of sports psychologist involved behind the scenes or whether or not they have one. I haven't seen one in the programme. I've seen everyone else, like dentists and everything, but I've not seen like a sports psychologist. And I'm thinking that there needs to be, because there's a blockage.
There used to be, yeah.
And there's a wall up. As soon as a goal is, there's a wall up. And it's true. How do we break down that wall when they go behind?
And that's where the lack of leadership is also the lack of leadership.
Yes,
because
indeed.
As great as Sonny is, he's not a vocal leader. And Romero,
and we all love Sonny, don't
we?
We all love him.
We love him, yes. But Romero even his head drops immediately. He doesn't say anything. So it's who is like I said. It's only really Kulusevski that could drag us out of it at the moment because he's the only one that's fit, and maybe Van der Ven, and then it's done. I don't see any other. Well,
it's Kulu.
Perval we will keep driving. They will keep playing. And we know the other youngsters coming on will have enough heart, but we don't want it to be a case of it's too little, too late by the time they get on the field.
Yeah. But I mean, as you said, we need to change the captain because I think the thing is with Sonny is he's just too nice. And I think that's a problem. I mean, the most angry that I saw him was in the Amazon Prime documentary, and I loved seeing him that angry. Him and Loris having their little make the run, incident.
Oh, that, yeah.
And if Sonny bought a bit of that, then things could be different. but he's so nice. He doesn't like to offend anyone. He's, you know, he's a wonderful person. He's got a really sort of soft heart. But in this tough time and in football, it's, you know, you need someone tough on the pitch. When you listen to Kulu speak, it's like, yes, he's very commanding. Kulu's background is from the Balkans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I sort of like hear him
Macedonian,
speak, he just reminds me of my friend from Montenegro, and that kind of Balkans tough attitude, not holding any prisoners, just saying it how he is. That is Kulusevski. And I think that is what that team needs. They don't need someone to pat them on the back when they're behind. They need someone to say, what the hell do you think you are doing? We are at home. We are 1 down, 2 down. We're in this stadium. Over 60,000 people are watching us. This is embarrassing. Come on, let's get back out there and let's win this game. That's what that team basically needs.
No, I agree with you. I was actually looking up and seeing who the sports psychologist was at Spurs. The only one I could find was for the women's team, and she's kind of left. I think somebody else is going. It was Helen Richardson Walsh. Yeah. But yeah, that was there's a new lady on there, Sarah Finley, I think it is. Yep. But that's for the women's team. We don't actually seem to have one for the men's team, which is kind of worrying.
Yep, they're missing one, and they need one.
I agree. It looks like yeah. I mean, when you're having these injuries and everything like that, and having not mental issues, mentality issues, you need someone to sound off, and we're not having that in the men's team.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That is going to be a worrying thing. That should be something that Spurs should get onto straight away.